Hello, here we are back in Finsbury Park again. Me and Millie the dog way behind me there. The clocks have changed a couple of weeks ago. Here she comes. So it's officially British summertime. The Easter Fairgrounds being gone. Noisy thing that was. The daffodils are out and about. It's getting warmer. When the park gets warmer, it starts to get busier. And what a busier park means is litter. I call it pollution. Since getting a dog, pollution's meant strawberry trifles, half-eaten kebabs, chicken bones, lots of chicken bones. Pollution's all around us. We read about it. It's affecting us slowly, gradually, in the climate, in the air, in our water, in our bodies, in our minds. But nothing brings it home more than when your dog finds a whole family strawberry trifle and gobbles it down, and then you're up all night. So, with the warmer weather, we abandon Finsbury Park for the season, and we go off to find quieter green spaces around North London. But before we do that, I just wanted to make a little video about a tree. This tree here we are. It's a giant redwood tree. Not many of them around in North London. In America, in California, they grow to 100 meters high, over 100 meters high, and apparently 7 meters in diameter. This one's not quite nearly that big. It's big enough, and she's doing okay in the boggy North London clay. And I've been coming here, standing with this tree and other trees, but in particular this tree, through the winter. You get invited in. There's a little glade of evergreen trees here that kind of invites you in through the winter, because it gives you shelter from the cold and the wind and the rain. And it's just nice to stand here for a while. And things begin to happen when you hang out with trees. And I've been on a bit of a discovery, a bit of an experiment of imagination into shapeshifting. So what is shapeshifting? Shapeshifting is what used to happen when I was a kid, and I used to, quite unself-consciously and with complete self-belief, say, "I'm not Alan, I'm a lion!" Rawr! And it's like my identity hadn't congealed, it was still malleable, and I was able to throw my awareness outside of myself into trees, plants, lions, and become that tree, become that lion, and walk and talk and feel as that lion. Doesn't last for very long, because you get sent to school and being a lion isn't quite so cute anymore, and people get much more interested in what you've been reading in books and the voices of those books, the voices in the pages, and the human voices. They're the real voices, and we come to learn about steam engines and geography and computer code. And our peers are doing the same. They're not talking about being a lion anymore. And slowly our imagination atrophies. That shape-shifting ability atrophies, and our identity congeals, becomes much more fixed, and becomes identified with our bodies. It becomes trapped inside us, if you like, tamed inside us. It's not wild anymore, it can't roam free. As a therapist, training as a therapist, I started to get it back, because as a therapist you're trained to tune into your client, your patient. You're trained to be receptive, and you learn that what you're feeling talking to someone isn't necessarily just what you're feeling. It might be quite close or even the same as what that person's feeling. You might be feeling their anxiety, their sadness, their anxiety, their depression, or even thoughts too. But so that's a shape-shifting. Empathy is a shape-shifting into another person. But that didn't take me back to that childhood malleability of perception. A malleability of perception that the loss of which, J. Griffiths, the writer, talks about the loss of that shape-shifting ability from childhood as an estrangement, a wounding, perhaps equal to the normal wounding that we think of from childhood, from parents, from caregivers. So it's like there's this thing that we've lost that we had and we want to get it back. And I have, to some extent, rediscovered it, in large part through hanging around with this lovely tree here. Why am I hanging around with a tree? Because I got a dog and I'm walking the dog. And spending a lot of time outdoors and tuning into my senses, and it's through my senses that I tune into the tree. I rub my hands along its lovely bark, cinnamon red bark, and it's kind of hairy. It's like a tree Chewbacca. And on cold days it's almost warm, and I feel my feet sink down into the earth, and I feel my contact with the pine carpet beneath me. Soft and spongy, not muddy like the grass, soft and spongy, and I start to feel rooted. And the mania, the busyness, the emails, the chats, the phone calls starts to soften and relax. I start to tune into the stillness, the rooted calm of the tree. And the one thing you need to know about shape-shifting, the really important thing, is that you can't make it happen. You can't control shape-shifting. It's not within your control. It's wild. That's what makes it wild imagination. You can't control it. You can't manipulate it. It happens of its own accord. It has its own order, but that's not under our control. So you can't make yourself shape-shift into a tree by thinking, I am now going to enter into and become this tree. What you do then would be, you would end up thinking about the tree, and you'd have lots of lovely thoughts about what a tree might think, about what a tree might feel, but you'd be thinking, you would not be imagining. Imagining is different. So what we need to do, just like approaching a wild animal, is come at it indirectly. You can't march up to a squirrel and expect it not to run away. Same with shape-shifting. So we come at it indirectly through our senses. And when I stand with this tree, the main thing that happens is that time changes. And the measurement of time, the scale of time, shifts from seconds and minutes and hours to days and weeks, months, seasons. Moments are long. Movements, my body slows down, and movements, they're like the unfolding of a flower bud. And my feet sink down into the earth. I feel much more, rooted, fixed, stationary, not running around anymore. So I've become closer to the tree through my senses, and then my perception gradually shifts. You don't really notice it happening, and then you're just feeling and thinking like a tree. I'm not Alan, I'm a tree. I'm a freaking tree, okay? And then Millie comes down, she picks up on the vibe, and she chills out. And that's a nice experience. And then the joggers run by, and I get disturbed, and I'm left with feeling enriched by the tree. It's lent me, supported me. It's lent me its spaciousness, its perspective on life. There's also a little bit of grief, because it's not often I touch on that. And in comparison to the tree, I feel how busy I am, how mad I am. So that's shape-shifting, and that's my giant redwood tree. But we're walking away from the giant redwood tree. We're going to find some quieter, pollution-free green spaces around North London and beyond. So we're going to make videos there too. So do subscribe, and we'll see you again. Okay, thanks for watching.